who I am and what I do. Is that what you said, Kel?
Yeah.
Okay. So, hi, everybody. As Kelly mentioned, I am her sister. I am a wife. My husband's name is Jason. I'm a mom. I have two kids. I have a 9-year-old boy named Brooks, and I have a 7-year-old girl named Dylan. I'm an insurance professional, and I'm also a personal trainer and coach. So, on the personal trainer side of things and coaching side of things, I run a gym out of my home. It's for busy women. It's called Train with Kate. You might have heard of it before. If you haven't heard of it, or if you would like to follow me, you can ask to join my Train with Kate Facebook page, and you can find out about the workouts. And I put some tips out there and highlight members and things like that. So check it out if you want to join my Facebook page. So what I do is I cater to busy women. I offer workouts that are 30 to 45 minutes. My personal training and my partner training is 30 minutes. My group training is 45. So with the workouts, it's to support women's weight loss goals, support their strength goals, their muscle building goals. So yeah, that's a little bit about me and what I do.
Yes. Anybody who lives in the Erie area, I highly suggest at least joining her page just to kind of get to know her. I've heard referred to it as the underground gym because I think there's a lot of intimidation when you have to go to a gym, or perhaps you walk into a gym and you're like, what do I do now? Like I'm here, but I have no idea what to do. So, anybody that's interested, I highly suggest checking her out. So,
Okay, thanks.
what did your eating, your health, your fitness, your physique look like prior to counting macros? Maybe start with your bad habits or your younger years, and then lead us into your Clubhouse journey.
Yeah. So how long do I have, Kel? And the reason I ask that is because it's been a long journey. My first recollection of nutrition was in eighth grade. And I was probably 30 to 40 pounds heavier than I am now. Um, I got called names, Free Willy, like just kids are mean. And I remember, you know, my clothes not fitting me right, being real awkward. And my mom asked me if I wanted to do Weight Watchers. My mom was a lifetime member. I remember this big gold key she had for Weight Watchers hanging like with her keys. I don't know. This was like this lifetime membership she had. And she told me, if I lost 20 pounds, that she would take me on a shopping spree. And she was trying to support me, and she wasn't exactly sure, I think, how to support me. But what Weight Watchers taught me was portion control. I lost 20 pounds and I went on a shopping spree, and my mom supported me along the way. And it's funny because my mom did it with me, but she said after I would go to bed, she would eat whatever. But just kind of a funny thing. But that was the beginning for me. I knew that I couldn't just eat whatever I wanted to. And then, throughout high school, I kept the weight off. But then I got to college and I wasn't playing sports anymore. And I gained the freshman 15 plus. And this was a turning point for me because I knew I didn't want to be uncomfortable in my body. And I really started working out. So it was in my early 20s, so about 20 years ago, when I really started working out. But my working out at that time and my nutrition was completely different. It was cardio, it was not prioritizing protein. So that part of it was different. I did get the weight off, but it was cardio, 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 cardio. Then, fast forward a few years, Kelly and I started going to a personal trainer, and I was introduced to macros and I was introduced to weightlifting. And I will say, hands down, this was the biggest change in my life. Um, I saw the biggest changes in my body. I went from being just, I would say, thinnish to being muscular. And it was something I had never seen my body do. And I was in my 30s by that point. So it was really a cool transformation. Well, then I got pregnant, but I still kept counting macros through my pregnancy. Those macros weren't the same. Um, but I worked out my entire pregnancies. I lifted during my pregnancies, and then I counted macros afterwards to lose that post pregnancy, weight that I had gained. Um, so, like I said, my oldest is 9. So I've been doing this macro journey and strength training for about 9 years. Um, so kind of fast forwarding to today, I still lift. I still follow macros. I do not count macros every single day of my life. Believe me, you're not going to have to. um, I do a cut normally one time per year where I go into a calorie deficit and I do track. It's normally around 8 weeks or so. But then I go back to my maintenance macros and I don't have to track because my body knows, like, hey, you're starving. And the reason you're hungry is because you have not prioritized protein today. Or, yeah, so that basically my day to day now, I just know from the way my body feels. And I'm also in the clubhouse now. And what I love about the clubhouse is that the recipes in there are amazing. On Sundays, I do all of my meal planning for the week. So I look at the calendar with my kids, with my husband, with Train with Kate, with my professional life, and I say, okay, here are the recipes in the clubhouse. What night am I going to have what recipes? And then I say, like, okay, Monday night, I'm going to have the Marry Me chicken for dinner. Tuesday night, I'm going to have I don't know, the Crunch Wrap Supreme. Wednesday, I'm going to have a different one. And I schedule out my entire week. So that's how the clubhouse really helps me from a meal planning recipe perspective. Also, when I'm planning what I'm going to grocery shop for on the weekends, like this weekend, I went to Sam's and I'm like, oh, what am I going to get from Sam's? Oh, yeah, I'm going to go into the clubhouse and see what Kelly got on her last couple of hauls from Sam's. And then I just get the same stuff. Like, why not copy it? So I love the hauls as well. I also love to see everyone's struggles. When people post like, hey, I've really been struggling lately and I need some support. They're just so relatable and it makes you feel like, hey, I'm not alone in this. And then someone struggle when everybody else starts giving tips. You're like, wow, those are really good tips. Those are things I could incorporate into my own life. And then the last thing that I really love about the clubhouse is the weekly check-ins with Kelly. So every single week you can check in with her and, tell her your struggles or tell her, what's going great. And then she can, help coach you. And, it's such a low price for the clubhouse that to get that individualized attention is amazing. So I would say, again, just to recap, recipes, the hauls, the struggles that other people have, and the coaching from Kelly. So that's a really long answer, but the one last thing I wanted to mention, and this is a little bit difficult for me to say, I found a picture of me in a bikini before kids, before macros, before lifting weights. I don't have many of these. I like my body better now than I did back then. And I'm telling you, this is where it's at. I wouldn't lie. So that's the last thing.
Yes, yes. I know because a lot of times we say, um, I like my body pre-baby, right?
Hmm.
And you think you're never going to get back to
Hmm.
that weight, to wearing that outfit, to, looking that certain way that you want. But it is, and on the other side of having kids, Katelyn and I both, our body counts are much, much more in our eyes desirable. Just lots of lean muscle, the definition, and the confidence for sure.
And the
So,
mental aspect too. That's another thing that I want to mention is that beyond seeing that physical picture where I am at mentally with my fitness and my nutrition is way better than it was 10 years ago.
Oh,
So,
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, not as much depriving, yo-yoing,
mhm,
guilt, shame, and then just
mhm,
being good role models for our daughters, which we talk
mhm.
about a lot, which is
Yeah.
huge and important to us, and I'm sure to a lot of the moms out there as well.
Mhm.
So, can you share a day of eating, what that looks like for you? I know people
Sure.
get curious.
Yeah. So, as I mentioned, I don't track. I prioritize protein. So, when I'm hungry, rather than going for something that may not be high in protein, that's what I lean towards because I know that I'll be fuller, longer, and more satisfied. I eat a lot of like the same things over and over for breakfast and lunch. That keeps it simple for me, and then I know that I'm staying on track as well. And then dinner is where it's really typically different. And with dinners, oftentimes it's grilled. Like my husband will be out there in the snow with the grill. I mean, if anybody knows where I live, when you drive past around 6 o'clock, he's probably going to be out there in the snow. Um, but we do a lot of grilling of meat and we do a lot of vegetables. And Kelly, you posted a video the other day that said one of your tips was adding veggies to bulk up your meals. And Brooks, actually, my son turned on the video and he goes, "Look, mom, it's TT." My kid's called Kelly TT. And mom, you do that with your food. You put vegetables in your food to make it bigger. I said, "I do, buddy. I do." So, it's just a lot of protein, repeating the same things, and then lots of grilling and things like that. But another thing I will say is I don't deprive either. If I want something, I eat it and then I work the rest of my day around it. Because what I found is if I deprive myself, I just start grabbing all sorts of different things and like trying to fill myself up when in reality I just should have had that treat or whatever I wanted because it was probably less calories than the 50 other things I grabbed for trying to make myself feel full.
Mhm.
So that's a typical day.
Yeah, it definitely, that's such a great tip because I think a lot of us that suffer from PMS or the hormones, when you have those cravings, you're like, oh, well, I'm just going to try and substitute it with these things. And then, 20 snacks later, you're like, I should have just had the darn whatever. It would have been less calories. So, yes. And I love that you share that you don't deprive because I think a lot of people from the outside are like, oh, she never eats this or she never does that, or, and that's just not true because that's white knuckling it and no fun.
Mm-hmm,
So, what
definitely.
made you decide to try macro counting? You kind of already told us, but what was, what
Yeah.
made you decide to try it?
So like any type of nutrition thing that I've started, I wanted to lose weight. I don't know that I necessarily really needed to lose weight. I think I just wanted a different body composition. And so, as I said, our trainer introduced us to counting macros, and I thought, why not? Like, this might change my body. Why not try it? It's something I've never heard of. It's something that I've never done before. And I trusted my trainer. And it was exciting because, I could see the changes in Kelly's body. I could see the changes in mine. And I just knew we were on the right path. And it was something that was exciting for me. So that's what started me on it was you and our trainer and just stuck to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I will also add that, even though Katelyn and I have the same genes, we have very different bodies. But also genetically, our parents did not have muscles. They didn't have abs. So we're not genetically blessed. So for anybody that's thinking like this could never be me, it absolutely can.
Well, I'm laughing too because mom's right through that door.
You want to see our mom? Come on down.
You want to see that? No, no, no. Okay, shoot.
So, what does your week of exercise look like?
So, as I mentioned earlier, on Sundays, I plan out my meals for the week. I also plan out my workouts. So, what I do is I look at our calendar and I've already got our meals on there for the week. Well, now I put the times that I'm going to work out on my calendar. So the reason I do that is because, as I mentioned, I have a husband, I have kids, I I have a career where I have an insurance career and I also have my fitness career. So, and then my kids' sports and everything else. So I have to prioritize my workouts. I have to prioritize them more mentally. I work out for mental reasons first and physical reasons second. So um, I typically work out in the morning, so I'll write those times on my calendar. And then typically my schedule is I do legs day one, chest, shoulders, tris day two, day three, I do back and buys, day four, I do full body, day five, I do typically legs again. So, and then I do 1 or 2 days where I rest. And then I try to prioritize 10,000 plus steps per day. So that's what a typical week looks like because I always have also seen with my results, in addition to um, macro counting, is following a program. So following a program, not just doing random exercises, random workouts here and there. That's where I've really seen results too. And lifting heavy. I will say form is number one. But once you get your form down, lifting heavy is key. Um, before 9 years ago, if I went over 10 pounds with a weight, if I was using weights at all, actually, I don't think it even happened. I didn't push myself with weights. If your form is down, push yourself to lift heavier. Um, so yeah, I mean that's what my typical week looks like. Just programming it out, getting my steps in, lifting heavy, giving my body a day or two to rest and recover.
Okay. And how long are your sessions?
So typically, I don't work out more than a half hour. Um, that's typical, sometimes 45 minutes. It's very, very rare unless I'm like running with you or something where it's over that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think a lot of people think, oh, I need to get 60 minutes in of
Mhm.
hardcore lifting. And that's 30 minutes with also rest, because as you heard her say, we need to be lifting heavy. So in
Mhm.
order to lift heavy, you need rest in between, not only the sessions, but rest in between the actual
Sets. Yeah.
exercise.
Hmm.
Yes. Good.
Yeah.
Um, Tell us about your results, sense macros and lifting, and share a non-scale victory as well.
So my results since counting macros and just the non-scale victories, I would say my bloating is better. I don't feel like sluggish going to like by the end of my day, I would feel so bloated. And when I started counting macros, I didn't feel that bloat anymore. I felt more comfortable in my clothes. There's a lot of non-scale victories, the strength gains, the healthier habits, the muscle definition. And one thing I do really want to mention too is I feel like I have less pain now than I did 9 years ago. So knee pain, I'm carrying less weight. I have more strength. So, just I feel so fortunate every day that I feel like I'm aging gracefully because of the choices I'm making. So that's a huge non-scale victory for me as I get older. I just want to feel good. I want to be able, yes, exactly, Katie, a body emotion stays emotion. I just want to be able to get up and down off the floor easily. I want to be able to do a lunge easily. I mean, I'm not going to be lunging around everywhere, but like I do want to be able to do certain movements and not have it be a struggle. And also to show my kids, like, hey, mom is aging, but mom's aging gracefully and she's still keeping up with you. So there's a lot of non scale victories.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we could go on and on about those.
Mm-hmm.
So what is one takeaway that you would want any of the shredders listening to absorb that if they're on the fence about joining the clubhouse?
I would say just join. The support in the group is amazing. Everybody's positive. Everybody is welcoming. Everyone is so relatable. Um, just the accountability is there. Just do it, continuing on this journey with people who are like minded, with people who have the same struggles, with Kelly's support. I mean, it's not a huge time commitment. A lot of times I'll go on there just for a second and I'll see whatever's at the top, and I'm like, wow, that's great. Like, even if I don't comment on it, or wow, that's a great piece of advice, and I go about doing whatever I need to do. It's not something like another thing you got to put on your schedule. No, this is to make your life simpler. The Clubhouse is to make macro counting simpler. And Kelly's coaching check-ins are the best. It's going to keep you on track. And for the low price that it is, you get so much. Just do it. Just try it. What do you got to lose? So,
Right, right, exactly. The accountability is what everybody needs, especially after the shred, whether it's time to work up to maintenance or they want to continue on their journey. I will say inside the clubhouse, you don't have to be going gung ho all the time. Sometimes it's just, staying connected with like-minded people, checking out the recipes. But if you have a goal, we're going to get there. And also, if you want to shred again, there's $100 off, which is huge for a lot of people. And if you want to do the workouts in there too, it's like everything's all wrapped up in a bow in one place, and you don't need anything else. Katie says, do Clubhouse members initiate the check-ins? Yes. So that is different from the shred. In the shred, I check in with you, so you can't ignore me. But in the Clubhouse, we start to take the training wheels off a little bit. The ball's in your court. You send me the message first. Yes, but you do initiate them. And you can just say, hi, I'm here for my check-in, and I'll take it from there. If you need to like vomit on me and tell me everything that you're struggling with, that's okay too. If you need to tell me, all of your wins, that's okay as well. Okay. So, but all you have to say is, hey, I'm here for my check in. Yep. You check in with me. Anybody have any questions for Kate? She's here. She can answer any questions that you may have. You can unmute yourself. You can ask in the chat. I think one of the questions was how long you have been strength training for.
yeah.
Let's say how long you were strength training for before you saw results.
Quickly I saw results. I felt like I had newbie gains. So yeah, as I mentioned earlier, I started about 9 years ago strength training, what I would consider strength training. And those newbie gains were pretty amazing. And then when I started counting macros on top of it, I mean, it's hard for me to remember that far back, but I would say within months, I started seeing results. And, people who come to my workouts, they tell me within, a couple of months that they see results, and I can see it in them right away. But before anything else I see in them is their movement and their strength increasing. So, yeah, I would say not long, Kel.
Right. That's why those progress pictures are so important. If you're working out from home without a trainer watching, how do you know that you have your form down before moving on to heavier weights, besides the obvious on not injuring yourself?
Ooh, that's a really good question. So I would suggest videoing yourself, and then actually watching it, and also, looking up what the proper form is for that movement to make sure that what you see on that video is what the proper form is supposed to be. Because I think oftentimes, sometimes we think we're doing a movement in a certain way. And then if we video ourselves or we look in the mirror, we're like, my body, I thought, was doing something totally different than what I'm seeing right now. So that would be my suggestion. If you're not if you're working out from home, set up, a tripod, or just set up your camera right there, video yourself, take a look at it, look up what proper form is, and then go from there. Good question.
Yeah, great answer too. Any other questions for Kate? Lifting heavy amounts. I don't know how fast or how much to move up.
So I would recommend if you are doing like, let's take an example. Say you're doing 10 reps of an exercise and you're lifting and you're getting through those 10 reps like it's nothing. So let's say you have, 5 pounds up from that. So let's say you have five pound dumbbells, you're doing bicep curls, you're getting through those 10 reps like nothing. I would then bump it up to the tens because that's what you have. If you're getting through those 10 and you're still repping it out like crazy and you have no problem, then bump up to the 15. But if you feel like you're starting to gas out in that last one or two, I would stay there for a little bit before you're bumping up again. So, lifting heavier, you can try the heavier weights, but as soon as your form starts to go, put it down and grab the lighter ones. So I wouldn't be bumping up, more than 2.5 to 5 pounds each time. I wouldn't, as soon as your form goes, I would go back down to those lighter weights. Does that make sense for whomever answered the question?
Kara says yes.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right, Kate, thank you so much for joining us. I know
Thanks
so
for having
many,
me.
yes, so many can relate to your story. If anyone is in the Erie area and wants to join you on Train with Kate, you just search you on Facebook, Train with Kate. Is that the easiest way, or reach out to you
Yeah, so
on
you
Messenger?
can, yeah, you can search for the group Train with Kate. It's a private page because there's hackers. Um, but anybody can ask to join and I'll accept you to join. If you can't find it, just look for me on my personal page. It's Katelyn Danowski and shoot me a message and I'll get you to where you need to be. So yeah,
Perfect.
everybody in here, join.
Thank you so much. So, Shredders, your next and final live coaching call is next Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Club mates, the December live coaching call will be December 1st, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Club mates, seriously consider the Define December. If you remember from last year, one of our club mates started in December when it was the hardest. And by the summertime, she had lost almost 50 pounds. And it was just that got her rolling. It's 20 minutes a day. So I highly suggest that you do it. So thank you, Shredders and Clubmates and Kate, for joining us tonight. Remember, you're always doing better than you think you are. Good night, everybody.
Night.
Night.